Who do you trust? And why? Can you answer this question? And what does it have to do with you getting a job? Here's a clue. Every time employers hire a candidate, they have to answer this question. And when you are one of these candidates, that question is about you, and it's personal. So can you guess yet? Knowing how employers answer the trust question from the answers you give during the interview will equip you to give more effective answers during the selection process. Answers that get you selected in rather than selected out. You see, resumes tell one story about you. They are essentially marketing letters about you designed to portray you in the best possible light, and employers know this already. So they also know that the resume may tell one story about you, but your past experience may tell quite another. Now, you may not list axe murderer as one of your hidden qualifications, as in this particular applicant's case, but how would the employer know that? Employers don't, of course, because they don't know you. That's one of the reasons good HR departments do background checks. You see, they understand the most fundamental principle for selecting employees. It's simply this. The best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. In other words, if you want to know what applicants are going to be like on the job, find out what they've been like on other jobs, and what they do in their spare time. Spare time, you ask? What does that have to do with it? If applicants have no energy in their spare time, when they are the boss and can tell themselves what to do, how could an employer expect them to have any energy on the job when a supervisor is telling them what to do, especially when they are told to do things they don't particularly want to do? After all, no job is perfect. That's why job interviews work the way they do, usually a formal setting at which the candidate is asked a series of rather difficult questions, each open-ended in format. This offers the opportunity for the candidate to speak at length, and that is what the employer wants. He wants to hear the candidate answer a question at length off the top of his or her head, and do this over and over again. The idea is that when the candidates say the first things that come to them that seem to make sense of the questions they are asked, this gives the interviewer an insight into how the candidate really thinks and what the candidate really thinks. In other words, the employer is putting each candidate under a magnifying glass to see up close and personal. Now, you might ask why, anticipating an answer like, to get to know the candidate better. But that's not exactly the reason. The real reason just might surprise you. Many people have screened porches. Now, why do they do this? Why do they go to the bother of enclosing their porches in fine mesh screening? If you answer this question, then you will know the real reason why job interviewers use the techniques that they use. It's the same reason. Simply put, it's to keep the bugs out. In other words, the screening procedures that employers use are designed to eliminate potential problems on the job. People who can't get along with other employees or supervisors, people who will have attendance problems, people who don't really have the needed skills, or people who have difficulty following directions, and so forth.
Even if you only look like a bug, the employment screening techniques used by companies will simply screen you out. So remove the detachable wings and antenna, such as baggy pants, ripped jeans, sports cap turned backwards, dangly earrings, displayed tattoos, and even unenthusiastic, blasé attitudes. You won't get through the employer's screen with them. Do you think that this just might be a little harsh? Well, let's see if it is. So try a thought experiment with me. Imagine that you are really sick. You've turned a lovely shade of lime green, and you have a fever. It's up to 103 degrees Fahrenheit. Your hair feels as if it's on fire, and you feel sick at your stomach. You can't even keep the Pepto-Bismol down, so you need to see a doctor. So you try the nearest family practice medical office near you, the family practice of Doctors Rabbit, Coney, and Hare, a family practice where new patients are welcome and your diagnosis is always special. So you go into the waiting room. You sign in and wait and wait and wait, and finally you are called. The medical assistant takes your temperature and blood pressure and leads you to the examination room. There you wait and wait and wait some more for the doctor. Eventually he comes in, or should I say hops in, and he greets you saying, "I'm Dr. Hare. How can I help you today? And what do you think of my bunny suit?" Now let's see if I can anticipate your response. Might it be something like this? "Please don't be offended, Dr. Hare. Your motto says that your diagnosis is always special to us. If that's what the pink suit, long ears, and white cotton tail are about, it's not working for me. That won't make the diagnosis special, just silly. So if you don't mind, I think I want a second opinion, right now, before I get yours. Is there another doctor to see?" "Of course. No problem. Meet my partners, Dr. Rabbit and Dr. Coney. They'll be glad to help you." Did this make you feel better? I doubt it, and here's why. You already have an idea in your head of what a professional doctor looks like and acts like the 3 images of doctors here. Just compare these 3 professional images to the 3 rabbit hutch doctors. There is quite a difference. You expect a doctor to match the mental map you have of what a doctor looks like and acts like. The bunny-suited doctors simply don't match. Since they don't meet your expectations of what a doctor is like, you feel more than hesitant to act like one of their patients. You might well decline treatment altogether from these physicians, leave their office, and try another medical office with doctors offering a better fit. If the doctors there match your expectations, that is, your model of what a doctor looks like and acts like, then you'll more readily play the role of a patient. Just as you have an image of what a professional doctor is like, do you suppose that the employer might have an image of the ideal employee, an image that the employer uses to judge the suitability of job applicants? The answer to this question is, of course, the employer has an ideal mental model of the applicant who can best do the job, and uses this model to choose from among applicants. That just makes sense. So what if an applicant, such as yourself, interviews for a position with an employer, but completely fails to match that image? Well, that's like Dr. Hare, actually. The applicant might as well be wearing a bunny suit. The applicant simply fails to meet the employer's expectations, and the employer's response would be the same as yours. You wouldn't want to hire Dr. Hare as your doctor. Similarly, the employer won't hire an applicant who fails to adequately meet expectations. So here's the question for you to consider. How many times have you interviewed for a position and you were the one wearing the bunny suit, and you didn't even know it? You thought you were doing just fine. Problem was, the employer didn't hire you, or didn't even get back with you. If you think this might have happened to you, then it's time to take off the bunny suit and put on work clothes. And the first step in doing this is to recognize a fundamental truth about interviewing. And it's this: the only reason you are in the employer's office is to demonstrate that you are the solution to the employer's problems. To solve a set of problems is the only reason an employer hires anyone. Just take a look at the job description. The core problems the employer wants the applicant to solve are found stated there. Now, Show the employer the skills you have acquired to solve these problems. Demonstrate the positive attitude you have about solving these problems. In other words, show that the job is something that you would actually like to do. And finally, exhibit the social maturity that marks you as a person who can work with others, take direction from supervisors, and interact with coworkers and customers with courtesy, responsibility, and self-control. This workshop will show you how to do these things in the interview, and more. So let's put our work clothes on and get started.